Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today we take a look at the first Dev Diary recap, and I'm very excited to hear what these guys will say. I watched it once, so I'm not sure what the content is. Let's take a look.
Hello everyone, I'm Josh, the community manager for the Chinese room, and today we're doing a quick Q&A with the developers who are working on Bloodlines 2. They're hard at work, but I've grabbed some of their precious time to answer your questions and to go into depth on some of the details of the things that they've written in their developer diaries. Let's start with you, Alex. You did the first dev diary.
Quick break. I'm really happy that Josh got the job at the Chinese room. I followed the channel Strange Adventures quite a while, and he's a nice guy. I will link his channel in the description, and you should check it out if you don't know. Lots of good vampire stuff there.
Do you want to kind of sum up what your thoughts were? And I guess on the pillars of the game was quite an important part of yours.
Yes, well, and also because it was the first, it was announcing at the Chinese room were the developers behind the game. So the Chinese room were bringing their already strong expertise in storytelling, but also, we're making an action RPG, which got a lot of people's attention.
That's something we've done.
That's a lot of my background is working on action RPGs, and then in the post I then talk about the game pillars, and the main one I talk about in the post is feel like a vampire. So that's our first pillar. That's our primary pillar. So every decision we make, whether it be art, gameplay, audio, always we ask ourselves, is this the thing that will make us feel most like a vampire? If you've got a bunch of options, the way to decide is to go, well, which makes me feel the most? So the second pillar is visceral immersive combat, which...
Okay, quick break for the first pillar. So I'm talking a lot about people don't know much about the Chinese room. They read on Reddit something about walking sims and never actually play a game. Watch some YouTube vids and build their opinion. These guys can do narrative, and they are known for it, and storytelling. And this is the most important thing for a good RPG, and especially in the World of Darkness. And yeah. I like the take that they focus so much on how it feels to be a vampire, because that's the thing. Why shouldn't it feel like it? Yeah, how it is. But I have already questions here, because we didn't see the character creation so far. We didn't get much into depth how the system in the end will be like. And if you're familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, then the struggle with your inner beast and losing your grip on humanity is the most important thing on the personal horror take of being a vampire. And if they say all the time everything has to feel vampiric, I just say vampiric now, music, atmosphere, dialogues, everything, then since this is a Vampire the Masquerade game, feeling vampiric must mean in the end that the struggle with humanity must be in the game, and with the beast, that you lose control over yourself, that you lose control on everything, and that you lose your humanity. And I hope they represent this somehow. We had this in the old Bloodlines game too. You had the humanity points, and you could lose your temper, go into a blood rage, and yeah, it's a video game. You need some systems which simplify it, but I hope we see that in January. How this feels, yeah. So if we, I don't think that we don't get it, because it is so important. Even the smaller titles like Coteries or Shadows of New York have hunger in it, and they already try to work with these things. but humanity is really, really, really important. Or I hope it will be in, because without uh, the losing touch of humanity, if it's not in, then we miss a huge chunk. I don't want just a vampire power fantasy. I want the struggle. Yeah, that's important.
If you've watched the Bloodlines 2 trailer, you'll see it's quite visceral. There is, at one point, a man gets his head squished all the way through. And then the third is exploring the world of darkness, so talking about this set.
Second pillar, visceral combat. Yeah, I like it a lot. I want a mature game. Vampire was never a game for children. And I mean, brutality alone doesn't make a good game or good story, but visceral combat is something I would enjoy a lot. And I already saw stuff like this. Heads get smashed in, and yeah, they don't take prisoners on that one. Because you rip people apart, you have these powers, you can depend on your clan and your powers, be super strong, and you need blood to survive. So this this is important, and I like to check it out myself at some point.
A world, so that's where we wanted to plant our flag. That's pretty much part of our USP for the gameplay world story experience, is seeing the world of Vampire the Masquerade through the eyes of an elder, and that elder is called Fire, and they are over 400 years old.
We've also got the person who's
quick break again. The third pillar is the World of Darkness, and yeah, that's a huge world. I'm not quite familiar what Paradox or World of Darkness is cooking, or Renegade games on the pen and paper side, because back in the days, World of Darkness was immense. It was really, really immense. You couldn't follow everything. You had vampires, werewolves, mages, changelings, other change were types, like were sharks. You saw it in Bloodlines 1. You have ghosts, different kinds of ghosts even. You have demons, angels, mummies, some Lovecraftian style aliens. Everything was in there. It was overwhelming. It was just too much. You had the infamous stereotypical racist style Kuei-Jin, and the 5th edition cut a lot out, which is really good, because now we have better clan Ravners. I don't think we see the Kuei-Jin again, and if they come back, then people with experience can handle them properly. So far in the rulebook we got werewolf mentions. They have their own game. Or we have supernatural humans too, the hunters. Then we changelings are mentioned, ghost race are mentioned, and that's it so far. So I don't know how deep or cosmopolitical the World of Darkness at the moment is, and I don't know how much the Chinese room is going into the World of Darkness overall. And I hope they leave a mark there, because the first Bloodlines game, it was 90% a vampire game, but you had these little stuff here and there going on. You had the hunters, then you had Grünfeldbach, the main hunter with supernatural powers. You had the werewolf. There was a smoke shop in Santa Monica, and the lettering looked like straight out of the Changeling book. I know in some patches they made just a smoke bar out of it, but I always had some Nöcker or Borgan vibes there, and then some characters know more about everything, Beckett especially, and I really hope they do that. Just a little bit here and there and here, yeah, so that the world feels a bit more alive, a bit more nuanced, a bit more immersive. Yeah, not just vampires and humans. Give me hints what the world of darkness in the end can be. Yeah. Okay, let's go on.
Making fire and the world look really cool. Ben, hi.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my diary is more about, of course, the art style, but one of the big key pillars of our art style is the neo-noir, which I'm sure lots of people are familiar with. But ultimately, it was about how we're taking neo-noir, making it our own, making it fit in with the.
I love the image. It's absolutely brilliant. That's a proper World of Darkness feeling. And the first time I saw John Wick with all the neon lights and the secret organization, I already said, yeah, I have now World of Darkness feelings. But I'm playing the stuff for decades, I can say. My brother and I always said, oh, this feels like vampire, this feels like changeling, this feels like werewolf, this is just World of Darkness feel, and I dig the fifth edition a lot, and I know John Wick is an action movie, don't get me wrong, I don't say John Wick in the whole is like a World of Darkness experience, but the aesthetics, the aesthetics of John Wick and the idea that something is in the shadows going on behind the scene world, that's the take. And I think at some point I will make a video which for inspirations for the World of Darkness for me, or where I see it. Something like the last Batman movie, where I said, yeah, this could be a World of Darkness type New York, for example. Yep. You can get lots of inspirations from everywhere out of the World of Darkness. Things can inspire themselves and back, and this is a great example. Yeah, with all these pink and violet neon lights, I dig it. It's it's lovely.
V10 world and the World of Darkness, and so one of those big things was seeing the world through, and now that we've announced Fire and the fact that they're an elder, is seeing the world through the lens of someone, the lens of a vampire being an elder. How does a vampire see the world? And I talk a lot about hot and dangerous, the human
That's a
world,
possible
the dark,
haven,
cold, safe vampire world, and that ultimately is how the neo-noir tropes and the cinematography all fits in perfectly with what we're trying to do.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's heightened senses. Like a vampire is a predator. You know, of course they have a human body, they have a human eyes, everything else. But of course, like a real to a vampire is I can sense everything. I'm a hunter. I'm a predator. I can smell things that humans can't see. Like I said, I'm seeing things through the lens of a vampire. So, cinema and neo-noir is one of those perfect things that it dials everything up to 11, and that for us, that's something that we're constantly reminding ourselves. So, what would it be to see for a vampire? Like, how does it reinforce the vampire experience and the vampire fantasy?
One of the people making that vampire fantasy work, Michele.
So in my diary, I try to explain how the concept team is bringing the Ben's and Alex ideas to life. So we have used a lot Unreal in our process, and we got lucky that we had a lot of assets from the 3D art team, and we played with their assets in order to create our scenes. Then we presented our early idea to Ben and Alex to get feedback from them, and that was really fun because they could jump into the scene,
so cool,
move around, and we could get real life feedback from those.
My understanding is that this is a relatively new approach.
Yeah, there aren't many concept artists around that.
Yeah, that's the scene from the Banu Hakim trailer. I'm already so intrigued what kind of place this is with the lamps here, and this style here. It has some Asian vibes for me. Maybe it's an ancient temple. I don't know. With Second Inquisition swarming and the players getting in. Yeah, nice. I always wondered since I saw the first picture of this greenish area what this is now. Then we got this picture, then we got the trailer. It's always the thing with puzzling all the pieces together and imagining things. That's where the fun starts, with being a fan and reacting to these things and talk with the community. That's nice. Okay. let's continue.
That work with Unreal, so they tend to use 3D programs like Blender or Maya, but they lack in terms of lighting, real-time lighting. From my experience, they are not that fast. You have to take in consideration that you are going to have to do a render, so it's going to take time. While in Unreal, you can have lighting pretty much instantly. Whenever you place light, then you have it. You have everything that you need. You can adjust the lighting as you need. And Unreal works very well for us because in our game, we have very moody scenes with a lot of fog, volumetric lighting everywhere. So in Unreal, you just press 2 buttons, you have volumetric lighting, and you can adjust the lighting.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the construction side. I think we might potentially see that in the in some of the clan reveals. I think actually we had a design block out originally, and then Michele took that design block out, and then we spoke about what we wanted it to be. We wanted to have these big, rich, kind of orange tarpaulins over that were casting these big orange lights, like light filtered through orange to create the kind of the orange room to make it rich and vibrant and kind of one of those big neo-noir moments.
Yeah, the usual process was to work on the design block out because that helps the concept team quite a lot in speeding up the process and understanding how the level flow works. Because sometimes you do a concept and the concept is just a static image. But with a level design block out, we had a 360 image. So we had to think the concept in 360.
Yeah, that's from the Bruja trailer.
And solve all the problems that you have when you move into a space. So not just a static image.
But if this is from the Bruja trailer, and we said, everybody said it, me, that we fight some Second Inquisition guys there. So what's this arena here with combatants and... I mean, Second Inquisition doesn't mean every time federal agents and strong hierarchy and disciplined people. They're absolutely there, and they're very dangerous. But you sometimes just have the regular Joe being a vampire hunter and bonding with others and getting even in conflict with other Second Inquisition members. And I mean, the Second Inquisition is not just one huge organization. It's just one term for all the hunters out there, because we have a lot now since Bloodlines 1. And what the dev said about the engine and the assets and the lightning. I know these are all concept arts, but we see already that they play a lot with lightning, and that creates so much atmosphere, and I dig it. And we already saw in the trailers that the Unreal Engine 5 is capable of doing a lot of things, and from just the surface point, yeah, it is a beautiful game so far. Yeah. The environment, the map building, what we see so far, Haven, Lightning, there are some nice ideas, and yeah, I really want to explore it and see the bigger picture, because we see all these little snippets, and this game will be at least 15, 25, 30 is a bit on the longer side, I think, but I expect something around 20 hours. You need to fill these 20 hours. There will be a lot in, and yeah. Let's go.
The whole space.
And as Michele says, it's him and several other talented concept artists. Me and Ben will come in and go, right. And it's often that it's going in with a problem, and they create these visual solutions. It's like, how can we have our cake and eat it? So it's super fun part of the process. And I'll have Victor from Paradox on Slack, and I'll be him on the side. We're thinking of doing this. Is this crazy? Will this work? And often the answer is, yeah, go for it. So yeah, it is really fun, sort of working with.
That's another good point. I need to throw now Hearthstone Labs in, because some people out there have this idea of the Hearthstone Labs version as legendary and superior, and we don't know much. I don't want to shit on it, but here in this example we hear that they are working close with Paradox and they are pitching ideas, yeah, and That's a good thing, because it means they are all working together on this vision. I think back in the days when Harsuit Labs pitched it, and the 5th edition wasn't at Renegade Games, it was licensed here, licensed there. Onyx Pass did some books and supplements. Morphidius did the rule book, and it didn't feel connected. And what I always criticized about the Harsuit Labs version was that it didn't feel like a 5th edition game, because you had these weird factions. Tremere were a faction, Nosferatu were a faction, Camarilla were a faction, and where were the Anarchs? But nothing was there, it was just all... Yeah, I don't know. It didn't felt straight to the license and the edition in the background. And this time it feels more like Paradox is on track. They have a vision for their game, and they are talking to the developers, and I like this.
Within those rules, but also adding to it. Right?
Yeah.
There's lots of things we're answering that no one else has answered before. So we're getting to create the visual archetypes.
Nice,
for
yeah.
them.
Especially with our characters and symbols, we had a lot of iterations.
The symbol is one thing that has also had a little more information added to it.
Well, for the symbol, we I think took quite a lot of iterations in order to find the right shapes and what we wanted for that. So Jordan, our senior concept artist, he works on this, and we wanted something that was maybe aggressive, but not entirely aggressive, and we wanted something new at the same time. So there were a lot of challenges in that. I think Jordan tackled the symbol very well.
Yeah, there's a vast library of symbols. There's another one of how can we have our cake and eat it? It needs to be recognized in VTM, but none of these existing symbols, please. And I think there's still more, even though in the Halloween announce, we're talking about fire and we're talking about the relationship to the symbol. That symbol is a very important through line of the whole story and the setup and everything that's happening in Seattle.
Right, are you all good for answering some questions from the community? Are the screenshots in the last Dead Diary are Elder's Haven? That's you.
Shall I answer that? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, so the answer is short answer is yes. It is. As it's not theirs as such. It kind of paints their history. Well, there's a lot of narrative storytelling in that haven, which is what we really want the player to go and look around and explore. There's little areas of interest that when you're looking at the DPC, the DP can read into what is actually going on in the narrative of the game. So it very much.
This looks all so cool and so brutal. And I already see that this matches how you want to play your character, your fire, your vampire. And I guess we will get some customization for the Haven too. The Haven. Of course, everybody who played Bloodlines 1 loved it to go to the Haven, hang out there, and get a new one eventually, or maybe, depending on licking the boots of the Prince, playing Tremere, playing Nosferatu. And yeah, because I mean the devs already said they don't create an immersive sim, but getting a Haven which I can customize and just hang out will help me to immerse with the game. And yeah, maybe we don't get a proper day and night cycle. I mean, it would be interesting to get at some point the Dying Light experience with a vampire game where you have to actually run away from the sun. But in Bloodlines 2, I don't think we get this. I would hope for something like going into the Haven, go to sleep, get some benefits maybe, or just in 3 nights you have to do this and that, and then you can skip something. Maybe it gets like this. Yeah, it was the thing I always missed from in Bloodlines 1.
Is our elders.
Nicholas Winding Refn and Nick Miller was listed as influences. This is very poetic. Can we expect a lot of dark, foreboding environments with trashy candy glazed lights permeating our adventure in snowy Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not trashy Candy Grace lights, but yes, I mean, near that's very much neo-noir. And for me, they fit very much with the kind of Machiavellian underbelly of a city. If you look at someone like Nick Miller's work, you look at its dark and moody
Beautiful.
and very much neo-noir. It's the city through a noir lens.
Oh, we loved Nick Miller's work in the concept team. We use that a lot for our
That's so beautiful.
Environment design. So the way he designed the shapes of the buildings, whenever he shot a photo in the street, that's what we have used as a reference for our exterior environments.
I think Nick Miller stuff's really interesting because it's like he tells a story. The environment becomes a character in itself, and I know that's a bit of trope in terms of kind of.
When I look at all these pictures, I already get a real strong World of Darkness vibe with the lights, the allies, the nooks and crannies everywhere, and then you get these weird symbols here, which could be just a graffiti, but maybe it's a domain sign, it's a magic sign. You get a hint of something is going on there, something is brewing in the shadows.
Kind of narrative storytelling, but it really is like our Seattle is a character in itself. We want the player to feel like they've woken up 400 years going, where am I? What is this? And what's this dark, foreboding place I need to play this game in? So, like I said, he's a great reference.
Can someone elaborate more on the intentions of using snow to set a noir mode?
It grounds everything. You can build a place, but ultimately, it might lack character if it hasn't got something that beds it all together. And snow's one of those perfect things. Visually, from a kind of value perspective, that kind of grounds everything together. Everything's got a bit of snow in it to tie all in and make the city feel real.
Yeah, for the concept we have used whenever.
So what I really like about the snow thing is snow in winter, it's cold, anti-life. You get the idea, it creates automatically atmosphere. And you have Bloodlines 1, LA, sunny, warm, beautiful naked people on the beach. And not my opinion, just a trope. Yeah. And now we have Seattle. It's cold, it's winter. It's completely opposite of the feeling of LA. It's a nice take. It's a different one. And I guess if you create the strongest snowstorm in Seattle ever happening in history, you have an excuse why you don't have to program hundreds of people in an alive city. Yeah? From a game creating point of view, it makes your life easier. But I still hope we see some people strolling around through the snow, which I can prey on when I'm hungry.
Whenever we needed to lead the player somewhere, so that's where we added the snow.
The city isn't in its normal state. Right, it's all been shaken up. It's like a powder keg ready to go off. And we wanted also the world to not be in a normal state. So Seattle typically doesn't get a lot of snow. So the snow that it's having is like the worst snowstorm in 100 years, like a freak snowstorm, like New York has had over the last couple of decades. It's had some freak snowstorm. So fire is arriving. So it's almost potentially like a portent or an omen that things are going to change in Seattle. Things aren't right in Seattle.
You were talking about visually splitting the dead cold vampire world from the dangerous alive human world. What were some of the challenges you encountered here on the technical and art side?
It's always a fine line between too dark and too bright, and of course, as a video game set at night, one of the things we really need to pay careful attention with is making sure the world was visible. I think it's really easy to, you see nighttime is lack of light. So great, we'll just turn all the lights off. And of course, from a video game perspective, that doesn't work. Technically, and I think I spoke about this in Dev Diary too, we're using a lot of Unreal's volumetrics, which are really, really cool. There's some amazing things you can do with it. But of course, what we're trying to do is very, very specific. A lot of Unreal stuff is mostly about kind of big environmental atmosphere stuff. So kind of Rayleigh scattering and sunlight scattering, because we don't have a sun. A bunch of humans around an entrance to a hotel, that we wanted that small area to feel warm and dangerous, but not anything else. Everything else should be dark and cold and safe, and I'll say that over again. Cool.
Can't wait for more questions. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh. That was a fast cut. Didn't expect it. The last thing they said were cool. that they so I talked about the difference between Bloodlines 1, Bloodlines 2, and they talk about human spaces warm, dark and cold areas vampire, and people who stroll out of their crowded, bright, lively, warm places and go out into the dark and cold, venture into the dark forests with monsters. Yeah, so it feels like this. So, yeah, that I like. So yeah, we see the deaths absolutely made up a lot. Their minds about a lot of things, and I know after this, watching this the first time without thinking or talking much about it, I thought, yeah, okay, cool. Now I liked it a bit more. The second Death Diary really made me happy. Cannot wait to talk to you guys about it. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for staying with me, and until the next time, bye bye.